Hello and welcome to another 642 Tiny Things to Draw update. You could probably hear my cat purring in the background. We are starting off with the due date on a library card. Fun fact, everything I used in this drawing were free samples from an office supply show. I used a highlighter to fill in the card because those cards are usually always kind of yellowy, and I'm using different pens to fill in all the names, and I attempted to do a different handwriting for each name to make it look like, different people. Then I filled in the background with a blue marker because I didn't want to leave it white. I thought that'd be really boring, and I really like how this blue and yellow look together. Those are pretty colors. Moving on, we have a bean pod. I sketched out a couple green bean shapes, filled in the background with orange so the green beans would stand out against the background. I used yellow as a highlight, and now I'm filling in the green bean itself with a couple shades of green. Take a shot every time I said green. Now I'm adding greater highlights with Grabie acrylic paint pens and outlining it with Grabie acrylic paint pen as well. Then I added some dots in the corners for funsies, and here are the finished drawings. Next up, we have the shutter selector speed on a camera, and this is a drawing that I was pushing off for a while because it didn't seem fun to draw. I added base shading in with graphite, and then I came in with some pastel colors of colored pencils because who said a camera has to be black and white? I think my dial on the bottom left came out really cute, and that's all I have to say about this doodle, so here it is finished. Next, we have an espresso cup, and this one came out really boring, and I did a shitty job with outlining it, so we're gonna speed past it because I don't like it. There it is done. That looks really bad, and now we have a rusty screw. I like how this doodle came out. I exaggerated the shape of the screw, and then I outlined it in a red pen, and then I shaded it with that same red pen, and then I filled in the base color with graphite. Probably should have reversed those two steps, but whatever, it came out fine. For the rust, I used a brown and a red paint marker to put down some paint and then blotted it out with my finger to get some texture, and I don't really know if that looks like rust, but I do like how it looks. For the background, I scribbled in the edges with the same red pen as before to make like a frame, and then I rustified that the same way I rustied the screw. This doodle looks angry to me. Does anybody else see that? No, just me? Okay, whatever. I like how it came out, and next up we have Chin Stubble. To fill in the base, I used a brown skin tone watercolor by the brand Artecho, and I did most of the shading with the watercolor itself by adding more water for the lighter spots and more pigment for the darker spots. I added some red watercolor for blush and then a purpley gray kind of color over the whole chin area for that 5 o'clock shadow. This is very basic coloring, but I like how it looks. I used a thicker Micron pen, I think that is size 8, to outline and fill in the background with some very long cross-hatching. Then for the stubble, I used a much smaller Micron pen and added a whole bunch of tiny little dashes going in the direction that the hair would grow. Lastly, I took a dark brown colored pencil to deepen those shadows. There it is finished. Moving on, we have a safety pin. Still using watercolor, I messily splotched out different shades of metallic silver with the sponge, and then for the background, I filled it in with metallic. It says green, but that does not look green. That looks like silver to me, and now I'm outlining it in Micron. I also scribbled in some minor shading with Micron, and for a highlight, I used silver Grabie acrylic paint marker. I had fun being very messy with this one, and it looks really expressive, even though it's just a safety pin, so like, what is there to express? But I like it! Here is a shot of all the shimmer. It is so pretty. Here's a still picture of it all finished, and next up we have a ticket stub. Honestly, I was not feeling very creative for this one, so scribbled in graphite background, and a very simple Admit 1 design that I colored in with red, and I'm adding a darker red around the edges. Lastly is the outline in Micron. Here it is all done, and next we have a squashed mosquito. Honestly, I didn't really try with this one. I put down some red acrylic paint, blotted that out with my finger, let it dry, and then very vaguely drew the outline of some insect pieces to like hint at a dead mosquito body, and there it is. Yeah, not my best work. Next up, we have a butterfly wing, and I decided to draw a close-up of a butterfly wing. There's my inspo in the top right corner. I wanted to get that butterfly wing scale texture, so I thought stippling with an acrylic marker would give me that. However, the ink just like bled together and gave me zero texture at all. So instead, I stippled not so close together and then came back in with a lighter color and stippled over those white spots that I left blank before, and that didn't give me exactly the texture that I wanted, but it was close enough, so I went with it. I forgot to record pretty much all of that doodle, but it came out really well. Next up we have a pixie. I put her chilling under a mushroom, mostly just for scale. This is all colored in with Artist Loft colored pencils, except for her wings. I wanted those to be shiny, so I gave her silver wings with Grabie acrylic paint markers. This doodle was a little difficult to go about because I fit so much into such a small space, so I couldn't really do a whole lot of detail. After coloring everything, I added more acrylic paint marker to push the saturation and make everything look overall more interesting. I added white dots to the top of the mushroom for funsies, and I added texture to the background by stippling down some green to attempt at like a leafy, grassy kind of background. And I did basically the same thing in the dirt for texture. And lastly, everything got a scribbly outline in Micron. Here's the finished doodle. It came out so cute, a little messy, but I like it. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of me, click the link in the description to find my Instagram, other Instagram, TikTok, and a whole bunch of other stuff involving me. Thank you again. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!